to fix the microphone, sorry. Preemptive strike. Hey, good morning. Wow. I'm a little out of sorts. I woke up a half hour late today, and so I'm a little askew. Welcome to the program. How's everybody doing? Yeah. Good morning, Jim. Don, I love the weekends. Yes, sir, ma'am. Duty, everybody. Oh, wow. We got some stuff to talk about today for sure. And as we head into a weekend, it's going to be rainy. With the forecast in just a moment. Taking your phone calls, 850-771-0049. That is the number to call to get on the air. Also, you can text. We'll cover some of those things. No pronouns. No pronouns. We need antecedents. All right. My name is Nick Stewart. Because who else wants to be? And this is Sunrise Santa Rosa. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Milton Post, for hosting. Everybody that participates. We got other folks in Jurgen's Landing does a lot of stuff with us and talk. We appreciate them as well. As a matter of fact, Jurgen's Landing has this question for the day. I agree with the question. We need to ask this question. And should County Administrator Dan Schiebler be fired? And we'll talk about that. All right, your forecast for today. Get this out of the way. Today, cloudy in the morning, few showers developing during the afternoon, high near 69. Chance of rain today, 30%. Tonight, the rain, the thunder possible, low near 57. Chance of rain overnight, 90%. Then tomorrow, for you Saturday, scattered thunderstorms, gusty winds, and small hail where possible. High near 72. The chance of rain tomorrow, 60%. It's 60 in Milton, 65 Gulf Breeze, 64 to Barb, and 62 in Pensacola. Welcome. All right, so the Garcon Point Bridge drive last night after work was not bad. It was not bad. Traffic moved fairly smoothly, and so that was a blessing. I don't know what the deal was, but everybody was kind of cruising pretty smooth. It was good stuff. All right, let's get started. So should Dan Schiebler be fired? So they missed the deadline for the FDOT money. Missed it. And Schiebler said that, they ran out of money. FDOT ran out of money. And FDOT goes, that's not the case. They didn't file anything. You have to look at it a couple ways. The first one is, you missed it. Own it. I missed it. We missed out on $1 million because we drug our feet. And you can use a collective we. I don't care. But to say they ran out of money and just out and out lie, that's something else. So a lie on top of I screwed up is worse. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. I apologize. My music is too loud while I'm speaking. I apologize. But so do you lie on top of being incompetent? And that's the question. And you can find that that question. It's posted on Milton Post. It's on Jurgen's Landing. It's several places. So check that out. What do you think? Why? Yeah, I agree. Why lie about it? Just say, you know what? Screwed up. Missed it. It cost us $1 million. It was mine. I own it. And people would be angry. But it's worse now that he said, well, they ran out of money. And then when FDOT goes, we didn't run out of money. Nobody applied for it. They missed the deadline. That makes it 10 times worse. Ridiculous. I don't know. 850-771-0049. Okay. At least 6 people have been shot at the Oakwood Terrace Apartments at Escambia County Thursday evening. Authorities were searching for shooters. Deputies said a dark car pulled into the apartments when several people began shooting. They believe the group was targeting one apartment around 6 p.m. According to FHP, according to Sheriff Simmons, deputies are searching for multiple shooters. A group of people exited that vehicle and just started opening fire. They estimated at least a dozen rounds have been fired, according to Sheriff Simmons. They were shooting indiscriminately into a group of people. Escambia County Sheriff Chip Simmons says that at least 6 people were shot. One victim suffered minor injuries. The others were taken to Baptist and Sacred Heart. Luckily, nobody was killed. But this is getting out of hand. The gangs and the drugs are out of hand. 6 shot, 5 in the hospital. So yeah, at least 12 rounds were popped off. Now here is, they are looking at a new police chief. I know it's the sheriff's department, but between Escambia County and Pensacola Police, let's try to focus on this, shall we? It's a big nut to grab a hold of. A Facebook Live by Grover is not going to suffice. Marching moms of dead youngins out is not going to suffice it. Gangbangers aren't going to go, you know what? She reminds me of my mom. I can't do this anymore. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen that way. Oh, mercy. Talking about, I suppose, Dan Schiebler, little integrity left. We were raised with accountability, shows good character. These guys are not accountable. All of these distractions while our GRP are putting in for packing the courts. Are GOP putting in for packing the courts? I thought that was the left. GOP is against that. Okay, I gotta take issue with this statement, Leanne. The thugs are no different than bad apple cops. That's just a wrong statement. It's wrong. You don't see cops just randomly shooting into crowds. Doesn't happen. That's gangbangers and thugs. Now, cops may shoot. Now, if you're talking about the Duante, he was shot at the moment by accident until it's proven otherwise, and you don't have any evidence that it was otherwise. He was shot by accident and not randomly into a group of people. Just saying. All right. Okay, thank you, Donna. I thought maybe I'd missed something. The Dems are trying to pack the court. Yes. All right. Yeah, I don't know, but we're having mass shootings in Pensacola, gang stuff. 3 finalists have been selected for the next chief of police of Pensacola Police Department. Booker Hodges, the assistant commissioner of law enforcement for the Minnesota Department of Public Safety. John Ortolano, the chief of police at the 6th largest municipal agency in New Mexico, and Eric Randall, the assistant chief of police at Newport News Police Department in Virginia. Now, 8 semifinalists were interviewed and scored by the selection committee on April 29th. The committee will meet again in addition to one-on-one with Mayor Robinson. The selection committee emphasized to me what a strong group of candidates we have, and all 8 of our semifinalists will be capable of being the next chief of police, said Mayor Grover. This will not be an easy decision, but I look forward to interviewing the finalists and evaluating whether they're the best fit for Pensacola Police Department and the entire Pensacola community. Now, let me ask a question. 2 of the candidates are black, and 1 is white. Do we need Do we need a black candidate, or do we just choose the best candidate? And I'm not because if you look at this, and I'm always for choosing the best candidate. But evidently all three of these are great candidates. So would a black candidate, would a black police chief be beneficial to the city? I'm not talking about tossing out a bone to pacify people. I'm not talking about that at all. I am talking about a candidate that would help with race relations. I don't know. I tend to steer away from that mindset. And I don't even know if that goes into consideration. I imagine it does under the radar. But I agree. The best. You get the best. How many? All right. So Leanne, to clarify, says, I meant by people need to speak up about bad thugs and the bad apple cops win. That's not what you said, Leanne. Yeah, there's bad apples in everything, right? There's bad people everywhere. And people do need to speak up and expose them. But not going to happen. The Escambia County School District is responding Thursday after Channel 3 obtained a racist exchange of messages by students on the Escambia high school baseball team. A parent brought screenshots of the messages to Channel 3, who then took them to the school district. Now, why would... Because if we go on and look at this story, the school district has already handled it. This happened back in March. The school district's already handled it. And there you go. So a parent goes to Channel 3. Evidently, the parent didn't feel that the school district did what they wanted them to do. So I'm going to go to the TV station. The TV station then goes to the school district. School district's like, whatever. You handle it. All you can do is handle it, right? In two separate screenshots, a group that chat titled EHSJV Baseball highlights an apparent exchange of racist messages. They include several racial slurs, including the N-word to refer to people, while also calling someone a slave. Escambia County School Superintendent Dr. Tim Smith confirmed the messages were those of Escambia High School baseball players. He said the school already closed its investigation into the matter, stating the district does not tolerate racist language. I was very concerned, Smith told Channel 3 on Thursday. They're just not appropriate. They're hurtful messages. And those messages are incredibly inappropriate for our schools. The incident happened in March. That's when they opened the investigation. The investigation was thorough. And in the end, there were consequences. Didn't say what they were or who the students were involved because of student privacy. And so, okay. I don't know. It's so ridiculous. We need to, Rosa says, we need to pass beyond colors. We need people who are most qualified for the job. Absolutely. You don't, Michael says, Kamala's going to Guatemala to find the root cause of illegal immigration. She is just talking about going, Michael. She's only talking about going. She's not gone yet. Warrington Middle School Principal Brent Brummett is confident the school's grade will improve after the state assessment this year. I am proud of the hard work put in by all of our students and staff over the past year, he told the school board members Thursday. The Florida Board of Education granted Superintendent Tim Smith a one-year extension to turn the school around. However, that extension came with stipulations. If Warrington Middle School scores do not improve this year, the State Board of Education will require a change in leadership, requiring Smith to hire a new principal and external operator for the school. All teachers at the school will also be required to have at least 3 years' experience. Last week, the Florida Department of Education issued an emergency order removing any of the high-stake consequences that are tied to state testing. However, this year's scores for Warrington Middle School will still be reviewed. Right now, we have 315 total points, which is a score of D, Brummett said. We need 365 to reach a C. We need 50 points. I'm confident our students will earn those points. At Thursday's special workshop, school board members voiced their support for Brummett and his efforts over the past 3 years. Whatever the state thinks they know, they've never been a principal, said Paul Fetzko, District 2. Every time you start moving staff and principals, you upset children. So, what? Shari is on here. Congratulations, Shari. So this it's not the principal's fault that your school stinks and underperforms. It's the children being upset because you're moving teachers and principals around. Let me tell you something. When I was in school, I could care less. Care less. Students don't care. If they did, they'd be at school more. You can't put that off on the students. Well, you're just going to make the scores go down by moving teachers and principals around. And maybe in the middle of a school year, but that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Own it. Own it. Say, hey, we're sucking right now. We're trying to make it better. We'll see what happens. If they need to move me, fine. Need to bump me down to a teacher? Fine. Own it that way. Own it. Don't push the blame on somebody else or on some kind of quasi-fluid circumstance. Own it. These kids get a D. The school's got a D because someone's not doing their job. Kids need a good home life to do good in school. Well, it takes a village, Donna. Don't you know that? You can't, the family, Black Lives Matter wants, you have to do away with the family. The family's evil. And that's, you can't count on that. More tax dollars from Escambia County are headed to help the Pensacola Bay Center. Pensacola Bay Center lost more than half of its revenue amid the pandemic, and it's expecting given even more cuts this year. Well, I think Grover had a lot to do with that. Bay Center officials asked commissioners for money. They say they need to stay open, and commissioners gave it to them. Initially, the Bay Center wanted $877,000, but they came up with $350,000. And the commissioners voted to give them $100,000 of it last month. And now, at their Thursday meeting, they wanted to give them the other $250,000, $250,000. However, some of the commissioners expressed concern about how the Bay Center handled its budget during the pandemic. I think that's probably a very good question to ask. Let's ask a question. How's it been used? Or why? What did you do with the money you had? Doug Underhill was the only one to vote against the funding. That's why we like Doug Underhill. He's not afraid to stand up and go, wait, something's wrong. He said, when we're in a position of authority, we have our hands in the coffer. It's our responsibility to make sure the working folks get paid first. There was no excuse for keeping senior executives on staff at the Bay Center when it was closed. When everyone else got sent home, again, it doesn't reflect our values. So a $350,000 and executives got paid. I don't know what this is. It's testify how great America. We've got a spammer on, so if someone can get it's off. All right, thank you. Pay no attention. Escambia County School District has a message for parents. Next school year will look different. District's doing away with remote learning for summer school in the 2021-22 school year. No more remote learning. your kids have to go back to school. The remote option was authorized under emergency order from the state for the school year, but there's concern many remote learners are falling behind in their in-person counterparts. So, not that there's not still an emergency. Oh, the virus is convenient when they need it, but because the kids are making them look bad, they have to demand that they come back. Also, mask mandates are gone. They're going to do away with its mask mandate after this school year. We need to get the kids back in school as fast as possible. That's according to school board chairman Bill Slayton. It's so important that we get this into the hands of parents and them knowing that for not only the VPK and kindergarten students, but for our existing students, next year will look different. They know, listen, they know people are fed up. They can't push the coronavirus thing forever. They know that. They tried. They didn't say, you notice in that statement, they didn't say the coronavirus is under control or we're getting it under control. The vaccines are working. And so now we are going to ease those restrictions. No. They said, we're taking the mask mandate off. We're doing away with virtual because we got to get these kids back in school because they're stinking in their education. Yeah, it is about time they got rid of the mask. But the motivation is wrong. Do you understand me? I don't care how they get rid of it, but you got to understand the motivation from the school district is wrong. It's not about safety. They said it was about safety. It's not about safety. They're doing away with the masks and the virtual because they want the students back in the school. That's what it's about. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's true. It's true. I'm not saying they aren't. I'm not arguing that point. I'm arguing the school's motivation for getting rid of the masks is wrong. What they're doing is right, but their motivation for it is incorrect. The dean of students at East Hill Christian School, Steve Thomas, has been placed on administrative leave after multiple students came forward alleging that Thomas engaged in gestures of warmth and affection that made the students uncomfortable, including hugs and shoulder massages of students, both male and female. In a press release issued by Tallahassee-based public relations firm, said that they were retained by the school. School said on April 11th, the board of directors instructed the headmaster to place Thomas on paid leave, pending the results of an ongoing investigation. Little touchy-feely. The Florida Department of Children and Families is investigating the case. In a press release, the school said that Thomas has been known to be an affectionate person. Now, he may be. They said he's that way at school and out of school. He's a touchy-feely person. Okay, but you can't do that. You can't do that anymore. Not in this climate. Sorry. In the world that we live in, you can't do that. You're going to have to show your appreciation and your affection to the children another way. No touchy. No massages, no back rubs, no hugs. We don't do that. Why do people put themselves in these spots? Mr. Thomas has acknowledged that he's an affectionate person, and he's known to readily hug others. Stop it. Stop it. It's a little creepy. Get touchy-feely with my kid. Those hollow points of mine will come to you. I get it. Yeah, you don't do that anymore. Hillsborough County detectives said dozens were arrested in the days leading up to WrestleMania 37 during the anti-human trafficking operation, including a high school basketball coach and a pastor who solicited sex while his two children were with him. Sheriff Chad Cronister announced Thursday morning that the arrest of 79 people during Operation Takedown. As we've seen so many times before, Our great community can sometimes be tainted by individuals who use these large events to take advantage of another human for trafficking. The sheriff said detectives were undercover online profiles and phony advertisements for sex. Female detectives posed as streetwalkers. So, oh, am I there? I lost something. I don't have any. Okay, there we go. It disappeared. It froze and it disappeared. Am I back? All right. Yeah. These big events draw people to sex trafficking and I don't know, weirdness. All right. What else is going on? Ain't my fault kids' parents don't hug them. I love my kid plenty. Keep your hands to yourself. I know. That was Mike. Mike's a little tender on this subject. All right. Legendary NFL quarterback Brett Favre. It's Brett Favre. He said there's too much politics in sports. You think? Speaking on the Andrew Klavan show on the Daily Wire, Favre said numerous people have told him they don't watch sports anymore because it's too political, and he agrees. I can't tell you how many people, including yourself, tell me I don't watch anymore. It's not about the game anymore, and I tend to agree. Favre added, I know when I turn on a game, I want to watch a game. I want to watch players play and teams win, lose, come from behind. I want to watch all the important parts of the game, not what's going on outside of the game. And I think the general fan feels the same way. Favre told Klavan that politics were rarely discussed when he was playing. He thought players protesting during the national anthem has caused more turmoil than good. I guess the jury's out on whether it'll be a good thing or not. I think it's created more turmoil than good. Sometimes something has to unify us. I feel like the flag standing patriotically because blacks, whites, and Hispanics have fought for this country and died for this country. It's too bad. And Favre is correct. And sports have become ridiculous. Oh, this is interesting. Major League Baseball's favorability among Republicans has collapsed 35%. It went from 47% down to 12% favorability in 1 month. Their ratings are falling like CNN. In the wake of MLB's decision to move its All-Star game from Atlanta over Georgia's new election integrity law and its increasing number of woke proclamations, Republican support for pro baseball has cratered 35 points to 12% in only 1 month. That's pretty drastic. Nice. Alabama Senate has backed the legislation to make it a crime for local police officers to enforce any new federal gun restrictions. Pretty interesting. Senators on Thursday voted 21-5 for the bill by Republican Senator Gerald Allen of Tuscaloosa. It now moves to the Alabama House of Representatives. The bill would make it a misdemeanor for an officer to enforce a new federal law or executive order that regulates firearms, ammunition, or firearm accessories. New ones. Opponents of the bill argued that the U.S. Constitution already protects gun rights and that Republican lawmakers are going to get the state embroiled in a costly lawsuit that they will ultimately lose. I think you're going to see more states standing up. Back off, Joe Biden. Freak job. Indianapolis police said at least 8 people were shot and killed at a FedEx facility near the airport Thursday night, and multiple others have injuries. The alleged shooter also died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department spokesperson Janae Cook said during an interview. At least 4 people were hospitalized, including 1 person with critical injuries. 2 others were treated at the scene and released. No law enforcement officers were injured. Just a gun. Didn't say it was a assault rifle. Just a gun. Pop star Demi Lovato, who I've heard the name, but that's about it. She cut her long hair in order to free herself of the gender and sexuality norms. that's imposed upon her by Christian culture in the South. Lovato made the comment while a guest on Drew Barrymore's show on Tuesday. She said she's given up on trying to be a sexy, feminine pop star and instead cut her hair. I cut my hair because I just wanted to free myself of all the gender and sexuality norms that were placed on me, as you know, Christian in the South, said Lovato. And when I cut my hair, I felt so liberated because I wasn't subscribing to an ideal or belief placed upon me to be something that I'm not. Lovato says she feels happiest she's ever been because she's no longer trying to be something she's not. Look, if you've got to sell it that hard, you got other issues, right? It's not your blasted hair. If you gotta continue to sell it like that, you have other problems. If I don't care if you cut your hair. I don't care. Cut your hair, shave your head. I don't care. But if you have to cut your hair to be happy, that's an issue. That is an issue. You're not happy with yourself. She still looks female. Yeah, she should take off that makeup. You're right. You are right, Donna. Yep. She is an attractive woman. But, yeah. She's got other issues. Stay away from that one. On Wednesday, broadcast of MSNBC's Readout, host Joy Reid and NBC legal analyst Glenn Kirshner suggested that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis could be involved in the sex and drug scandals involving Matt Gaetz. Reid said, so the question for Gaetz, because he obviously, Greenberg has to give somebody bigger than him, would be Gaetz. So that's all speculation. Here is, at least per the reporting, the people who are on the Bahamas trip. Notice if you see somebody's name that rings a couple times, you had at least 5 women per Politico. You had Gaetz. You had a guy named Jason Perizzolo, the hand surgeon and GOP fundraiser to Ron DeSantis, who apparently Gaetz wanted to turn into the Attorney General of Florida. There's Hazley Brashears, the former state legislator, former appointed official in the DeSantis administration. If you're Ron DeSantis, don't this feel like it's creeping close to you because these are your friends? These are your allies? Kirshner responded, yeah. Just as Greenberg's lawyer said about Matt Gaetz when he left the courthouse the other day, he said, you know what? If I were Matt Gaetz, I don't think I'd be all that comfortable right about now. You have to believe that DeSantis, I mean, these are his boys. These are his guys, right? We've seen the pictures. We've heard the stories. You have to believe that Ron DeSantis, if he's done anything wrong, feels like things are creeping closer and closer to him. I thought, what happened to them reporting the news? Anybody? Crazy. They don't even say it's speculation. They're just speculating. The CEO of pharmaceutical Pfizer said during a televised interview Thursday that people will likely need a 3rd dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. CEO Albert Bourla told CNBC that the shot would need to be administered within 12 months of getting fully vaccinated, and then possibly every year. It's extremely important to suppress the pool of people that can be susceptible to the virus. Suppress the people. Earlier this month, Pfizer announced that clinical trials have found its vaccine continued to be effective against COVID-19 up to 6 months later, although nobody's had it for 6 months. Nobody's had the vaccine for 6 months. We don't know. Sherry won't need one. She's not getting it. There are no journalists on MSM. Yeah. But here's the thing. Every day, the news comes out about this vaccine. And it's worse every day. It's worse every day. Now, I'm going to speculate. This is just a wild thought. What if you have to get the shot again? Not the first time. They're trying that. But what if you have to physically get the shot every year? Because if you don't, something bad will happen. You have to get the booster or you will die from it, or you know what I'm saying. They've got you sucked into this thing. It's like the the Columbia Record Club. You get sucked into it, and then you have to do it. I don't know. Jason says, I'm not getting stuck. All right. Good for you. Vitamin C, take kefir. Drink kefir. Yeah, I know, enormous cost. But that's the thing, is they want to suck you in, and then you have to survive. It is a waste of taxpayers' money for a vaccine that doesn't work. Vaccine that Facebook, let me correct that, for a possible cure for the COVID. They tag all my stuff all the time with a information thing about COVID-19 vaccine. Whatever. Wankers. I should have said that. I apologize. The Biden administration has been sued by Texas and Missouri over its immigration policy, which they claim is responsible for a surge of illegal immigrants and crime in their states. The lawsuit filed in Texas federal court on Tuesday takes issue with the fact that the Biden administration did away with the migrant protection protocols of the Trump administration, which held would-be immigrants in Mexico while their asylum cases were pending in the U.S. The current administration's policy to stop the MPP, Remain in Mexico program, the first day Joe Biden took office, was arbitrary and capricious and has caused thousands of children to come to the border with meritless asylum claims. And it's true. And they should be sued. Elizabeth says, eventually everyone will be vaccinated every year at age 64. It will kill you. Yeah, that's a little dark. Yeah. I get you. I understand where you're coming from. House panel advanced a decades-long effort to pay reparations to descendants of slaves by approving legislation Wednesday that would create a commission to study the issue. It's the first time the House Judiciary Committee has acted on the legislation. Still, prospects for final passage remain poor in such closely divided Congress. The vote to advance the measure to the full House passed 25-17 after lengthy and often passionate debate that stretched late into the night. The legislation would establish a commission to examine slavery and discrimination in the United States from 1619 to the present. The commission would then recommend ways to educate Americans about its findings and appropriate remedies, including how the government would offer a formal apology and what form of compensation would be awarded. The bill, commonly referred to as H.R. 40, was first introduced by Rep. John Conyers from Michigan in 1989. The 40 refers to the failed government effort to provide 40 acres of land to newly freed slaves as the Civil War came to a close. So, they want to do reparations. It doesn't look like it's going to pass, but it's gotten farther than it ever has. All right, so I showed you a couple clips this week from Project Veritas exposing the fraud at CNN over the COVID vaccine and its attack on Matt Gaetz. Well, critics accused Twitter Thursday of banning Veritas, Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe, from its platform over his news outlet's damning expose of CNN. Project Veritas relaunched its hashtag Expose CNN campaign, or Expose CNN campaign this week by sharing footage of CNN technical director Charles Chester revealing the liberal network's dirty laundry in the footage. Chester claimed that CNN's focus during the 2020 campaign was to get rid of President Trump, that the network hyped its coronavirus coverage for gangbuster ratings, and that it aims to help Black Lives Matter. On Tuesday, O'Keefe's Twitter account, which was sharing Project Veritas reporting, was permanently suspended over use of fake accounts. And they have silenced O'Keefe. Donna asked a very good question. How are they going to decide who are descendants of slaves? All nationalities have been slaves at some point in history. All right. So, and what kind of precedent does it set? Because if anybody needs reparations, it's Israel, right? So should Germany make reparations to Israel? Yes. The Irish? There's Italians. Look, our nation has some low points, but it is built within it until the Democrats destroy it to recover and correct itself. And we corrected those things. And reparations, it's just move on. Move on. Has anybody here been a slave? The House Select Subcommittee on Coronavirus held a hearing Thursday titled Reaching the Light at the End of the Tunnel, Ending COVID-19. But it erupted into a shouting match when Rep. Jim Jordan of Ohio pressed Dr. Fauci on when it might end, becoming a reality in terms of restrictions being lifted. And then what happened to that video? Did I lose my video? I lost my video. Anyway, I'm sorry. But anyway, as they were arguing, his time was up, but he wanted the answer. Fauci didn't answer his question. So as he pressed, Maxine Waters said, "Shut your mouth." Maxine Waters told Jim Jordan in this hearing to shut his mouth. These people are just out of their minds. When is it time, Jordan asked? When do Americans get their freedom back? And Fauci didn't answer because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. Donna's a slave to her husband. Leanne's kids treat her like a slave. I get it. A former porn star is throwing her hat into the ring for the California governor, Gavin Newsom's job. Mary Carey announced this week she's running for California governor as a former adult actress joins a crowded field of candidates looking to replace Newsom, a Democrat, in the event of the recall effort triggers a special election this year. The star films like Dirty Angels and Welcome to Los Angeles previously ran in 2003 when California Republicans successfully helped to recall Governor Gray Davis. Last time I was young, dumb, and full of fun. Carey, now 40 years old, said in an interview this week. And this time I'm more experienced. I'm not going to take this position lying down. I'm ready to be on top. Is that what this is going to boil down to? All kind of innuendos? Years later, Carey already has a website where merchandise, t-shirts, tote bags, aprons, stickers related to the governor bid are all available to purchase. I am ready to take another shot at the California gubernatorial seat. Political strategy is in the works. Any and all support to fight the big political parties will help save our state, Carey says on her website. Finally, a politician I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. Anyway, it's a lot of innuendos. On the Fauci thing, the Dems think that Fauci's walking on water. And he works for whoever's going to get him the most airtime. He feels important at this moment. This is his time to shine. I'm ready for his 15 minutes to be done. CNN anchor Don Lemon appears to be unfazed by the network's dramatic rating slump since former President Donald Trump left office. During an interview on New York Times podcast Sway, host Kara Swisher asked Lemon if he was worried about the viewership fizzle. No, I'm not worried about it, Lemon responded. The reason I'm not worried about it is because it beats the alternative. The alternative, him, meaning Trump, being in there and us having to figure out how we deal with lies and bigotry and hate and toxicity. Wait a minute. Biden is a bigot. Biden is a liar. It has nothing for me to do with my ideology or politics because people have accused me of being conservative. Really? Somebody's accused Don Lemon of being conservative? I don't think so. Trump was a horrible person, he said. He was terrible for the country. Really? I think 4 years of being great says different. And it's better for all, for the world, that he's no longer president of the United States. So if that means that cable news ratings go down, you see him deflecting. I want you to see. He says he didn't say our ratings. He didn't say my ratings. He said cable news ratings. He meant across the board. And that's not true. That is not true. So if that means that cable news ratings go down, so I'm not really that concerned about it. I'd prefer that my ratings go down and Trump not be in office than my ratings be sky high and him be there. That's the honest truth. CNN has been hemorrhaging viewers since Trump left office, losing roughly half of its audience in key measurables since January, following a brief post-election day spike. CNN averaged 2.5 million primetime viewers from the November 4th, the day following the presidential election, through Inauguration Day. But viewers fled the liberal network once President Biden took office, and CNN has averaged only 1.6 million primetime viewers from January 21st through March 15th. Lemon feeds the lie. Yes. It's good for the nation. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics released the Consumer Price Index for March, which surged 0.6% from February. The CPI jumped 2.6 compared to the same period from a year ago, which is the largest monthly gain since August 2012. Last February saw a 1.7% increase. Fueling the rising cost is the mounting cost of gasoline. Gas prices spiked 9.1% in March, which accounted for nearly half of the seasonal adjusted increase in the all items index. The natural gas index rose 5% in March. Overall, energy prices have increased 13.2% in the last 12 months, including gas rising sharply at 22%. Food prices edged up 0.1% last month and are up 3.5% since last year. The cost of food consumed at and away from home also rose 0.1%. NBC News highlighted some of the food items that have increased since the COVID-19 pandemic. Before the pandemic, national average for a pound of bacon in January was $4.72. By last month, the price was $5.11. Ground beef is up to $5.26 a pound from $5.02. Bread is up $2.66 a loaf from $2.44. So there you go. Small business across the country have reportedly fallen on hard times in recent months, but it's not what you think. Business is good. Business is good. They don't have workers. Much needed workers. And what are they blaming it for? What are the business blaming the lack of workers for? Stimulus money. Government handouts. Business owners from Ohio, Florida, Wisconsin, and North Carolina told the Dispatch recently that pandemic-enhanced unemployment benefits are stymieing their hiring efforts. So stimulus, big unemployment checks, I don't need your job. People would rather collect money from the government while they can, instead of working in a lower wage industry such as the restaurant business. We knew this would happen. We knew this happens every time. Anytime they want to raise minimum wage or guaranteed income, or when you want to raise unemployment benefits, it always does this. Always. Exactly. Here's how unemployment should work. You prove with your last year's tax what you made. And so then you get 25% less of that. 25% less of what you earned last year. That is how unemployment should work. But it doesn't. It doesn't. I've been in the business 33 years. That's the absolute worst it's ever been. Bill Anderson, who owns Dale's Diner in Westerville, Ohio. He added that it's primarily back of the house employees such as dishwashers, managers, cooks that he needs. Usually we put ads in different locations, we'll get anywhere from 6 to 12 applications in the first week or whatever. And we'll take our pick. We'll get the best of that bunch. Within the last couple of months, we don't even get a call. We don't get anything because they are paying people to sit on their butts. Speaker Pelosi, man, put up her frantic picture when she's not drinking, works for the government. She's opposed to an effort by some congressional Democrats to expand the number of justices on the U.S. Supreme Court from 9 to 13 and will not permit such a bill to come to the House floor. Not yet. During her weekly press conference on Thursday, Pelosi said that she's not necessarily opposed to expanding the court, but for now, we'll wait for findings from the commission President Joe Biden established to study the issue. I support the president's commission to study such a proposal. Here's the focus for the time being. It's on infrastructure. To push this bill through. As soon as we push this infrastructure bill through, we don't want to detract from that. We'll push the infrastructure bill through. Then we'll look at the expanding the court. I don't know that that's a good idea or a bad idea. I think it's an idea that needs to be considered. I think the president's taking the right approach to have a commission to study such a thing. Wow. They're going to cram infrastructure down your throat, and then they're going to expand the courts. They're going to push up for reparations. D.C. is going to be a state. This fraud of a voting bill is going to be pushed through. These people, I can't say it enough, hate you and they hate your country. And that's what it comes down to. They're haters. Reporters asked White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki about the Biden administration's opinion on the expansion of the Supreme Court, a plan which has been proposed by Democrats in Congress. The plan would increase the size of the Supreme Court justices from 9 to 13. The plan was proposed by the House Judiciary Committee and, as they stated, was in direct response to the court's current justices being majority conservative. Psaki was asked if the president approved of the bill. In response, Psaki referenced Biden's executive order from last week, which is planning to review the issue. But she wouldn't say where he stands on it. She refused to say where he stood on the issue of packing the court. I wonder why. Do you find that odd? Do you find it odd? Well, he's got a commission. He's studying it. And so there you go. Well, how lovely for you. These people are the worst. They are the worst. Here's Jen Psaki. Let me bring that video up here for you. You can hear it. She'll circle back around to it. Here you go.
Support the bill just introduced by the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee to add 4 seats to the Supreme Court?
Well, just last week, the president signed an executive order creating the Bipartisan Commission on the Supreme Court of the United States, a bipartisan group of over 30 constitutional and legal experts who are examining a range of questions about proposed potential reforms to the Supreme Court. And one of the issues they'll look at is, of course, the size of the court, but they'll also look at the court's role in the constitutional system, the length of service, the turnover of justices, and they're going to come back to the president with a report on what their discussions are and what their findings are. So he's going to wait for that to play out and wait to read that report.
So, I mean, this isn't just coming from some obscure member of Congress.
Right.
This is coming from the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. So is the White House frustrated that Chairman Nadler perhaps didn't wait for this report from the commission that President Biden just called for last week?
No, the president believes that it's important to take a look at a range of points of view, whether they are progressive or conservative, different sets of legal opinions.
Sure.
And he looks forward to assessing that himself. And I expect he will not have more to convey about any recommendations or views he'll have until he reads that report. But he certainly understands that members of Congress have a range of views, and they're going to propose legislation. He may or may not support it.
So I just want to be clear here. The president does or does not think that this bill is premature?
He believes that members of Congress have the right to put forward legislation on issues they support. His view is that he wants to hear from this commission that has a range of viewpoints.
So she just keeps avoiding the question. She won't answer the question. These people are the worst. They are the lowest of the low. Evil, wicked people. 850-771-0049. In February, Los Angeles-based Skeptic magazine published a survey showing that roughly half of self-described liberal or very liberal respondents believe 1,000 or more unarmed black men are killed by police every year. How many do you think are killed by police every year? Approximately 35% of them believe that the number is as high as 10,000. They believe that 10,000 black men are killed by police every year. Even among self-described moderates, 66 believe about 100 or more unarmed black men are killed every year. 54% of self-described conservatives and very conservative respondents believe that. The reality? You want to know what the reality? According to the Washington Post database on police shootings, 18 unarmed black people were killed by police in 2020. 18. Under 20. 18 unarmed black men were killed by police in 2020. 13 in 2019. Unarmed doesn't necessarily mean unarmed. In some cases, media reports are often wrong or don't give proper context, such as when the criminal doesn't cooperate and then reaches into his pocket while running away and whips around back at cops. Other instances include a suspect barely or severely beating another cop or civilian. The overwhelming majority of these cases tend to be justified, if also tragic shootings. Likewise, when people were asked what percentage of those killed by police were black, every group overstated the reality factor by 2 to 4, including even self-described conservatives. Liberals believe black people accounted for 56 to 60% of police shootings. Moderates estimated the share at 46%, and conservatives ballparked at 38%. In reality, 25% of fatal shootings in 2019 were of black people. Well, that's more than their share of general population. Given the disparity in violent crime rates and how most murder and armed robbery occur in non-white neighborhoods, the number of fatal shootings per capita is likely greater among white people. That's what Michigan State University study found before the author was fired after woke protesters intimidated the school when authors like Heather McDonald began citing it. They can't, because they're woke, they can't deal with facts. 18 unarmed, which doesn't mean unarmed. 18 unarmed black men were killed in 2018 by police. Think about it. In 2020. 18 in 2020. And 13 in 2019. So they can't handle the facts because it doesn't fit their narrative. So they had to fire the person who did the study. The person who came up with the facts and laid out the facts was fired because the numbers weren't higher. 18 unarmed black people were killed by police in 2020 and 13 in 2019. And the numbers are much higher in white category. Why? Because the police are less hesitant to draw on white people. That's what the study says. That's what the study says. Now, keep that in perspective as you go through your day. All right, my friends, we are overtime today. Have a great weekend. Whoa, we love you. Like it, share it, and we'll see you back here again on Monday for another week from Sunrise Santa Rosa. God bless you. Have a great day. Stay strong.